So I played as white in this game against a adult named Arthur, who this was his final tournament until he got out of provisional. So his official rating at this point is 792. And I was feeling pretty confident I could beat him, but let's see how the game goes. Get a little bit of a spoiler here. I mean, you know I won, but okay, so when I play as white, Queen's Gambit all the way, every day. An opponent takes, and I develop my knight to f3, which is pretty standard for Queen's Gambit, no matter what the response is. And then opponent's move really surprised me. They went c5, which apparently is book move, but I've never seen it. And I didn't want to take here because then it would ruin my castling. So I thought about it for a little while and realized I wasn't going to care. Because if Arthur wanted to take, it would be, a fine exchange here on the center, and I would have more development than him. He doesn't end up taking. And so I make the decision to keep my dark squared bishop kind of trapped inside the pawn chain for the moment, because I just didn't want to deal with an open center yet. I didn't know how the game was going to go. I wasn't quite sure what opponent was planning, if there was a plan. And so, yes, it was a miss, and now I see that pushing to kick the knight out would have been stronger, but, Oh, thank you for the follow, Boo Siesta. And you helped me meet a follower goal, so thank you. All right, so he takes on d4. I take with the knight. And then we end up with a really funky knight connect 4 here, where I just keep developing like normal. It's at this point I realize opponent has not developed anything. Anything here. Like, what's going on? And look, here's the knight connect 4. Do we win some special Steam achievement for this? No, but that'd be cool though. And okay, this move is fine, but my reason for it is I noticed that they were starting to accumulate a lot of pressure on g4, and I wanted to circumvent that. Yes, I have my light squared bishop and my queen lined up there, but I wanted to remove that possibility from the table. h3 worked just fine. Did I say h6 before? I meant h3. Okay. And finally, opponent starts to develop a little bit more, preparing the way for the dark squared bishop. I castle. And you're going to see the knights go back to their original squares pretty soon. My knight's first. His knight's next. And we are no longer in knight connect 4. Starting squares. Opponent finally castles. And my idea with b3 here is to allow my bishop a little bit of scope, because it was cramped. And this is where opponent starts to get really aggressive with his king. Best move, Engine says, is bishop to b2, but I played the opponent, not the game in this move, by going bishop to d2 with this idea looming. Because I knew Arthur was, rated 792, and just the way he had been playing made me think that this was going to be an issue he didn't deal with. And I was correct. So I'm trying to develop here. I'm adding a bit of defense just in case they're trying for, just something to add pressure on c3. And they start making an error. I'm not playing it perfectly here, but ultimately it doesn't matter, because of this discovered attack. I realized that I've got a couple options that attack a lot of things. How old is Arthur? He's probably in his 30s. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, like, Arthur was not a good opponent. First of all, he was a little late to our game by a couple minutes. Then he was eating. The room was going silent around us, and he was smacking on some kind of granola bar that was crunching like the loudest thing you've ever heard in the world. And no, eating and chess. Yeah, but because the tournament was so small, the arbiters weren't always in the room, which, you know, it's fine. But it was very off-putting from the start. I was like, ugh, you're late and you're eating when we just had a break for lunch. Like, excuse me, but Nature Valley, but not during chess. Like, ugh. Yeah, it was rude and it just, but that was not the worst part. I debated whether or not I should even leave Arthur's name in this because I have some comments about him, but ultimately I decided he's an adult who made adult decisions and he can have adult consequences for a random video on the internet he'll probably never see. So I move here. He spent a long time on this move. And technically, it's not completely losing if he responds correctly. He has several options. His option, however, was this. And that just hangs a piece. Bishop is now free because I have horse and queen. They only have queen. And I realized order did matter here. Engine disagrees, but I realized if I took here first with my queen, then they could take with this knight, and then follow-up was a little unclear. So I took with the knight first to win a free piece, like just completely free. And I also realized at this point that Arthur's queen was pretty trapped. Not 100% trapped, but not comfortable. And so I tried to capitalize on that by kicking the queen around, just keeping the tempo in my favor. And, you know, Engine doesn't agree with me on all my moves. That's okay. I'm not a perfect chess player. I'm just enjoying life. And here I'm trying to add more pressure to another piece to see if I can win more. And he doesn't spot it. He hangs a knight. And he's trying something here. I think he thinks he has enough pressure with this pawn on a3 to promote. He absolutely doesn't. And I think it was this move. One of his queen moves around here. He violated touch move where he picked up his queen, moved it. I think he moved it. Where did he move it to? Here, maybe? Like some really dumb square. He let go of it, picked it up again, and then moved it. Hello, Alon. And I was so dumbfounded. Like, remember, this is my second ever tournament. I am very conflict avoidant as a person. And so I knew he violated touch move, but I didn't know what to do about it. I don't even know how the clock works. So pausing the clock, I didn't know what to do, but I knew I was in such a winning position that no matter if he found a move that didn't hang his queen, I was confident I was winning this game. There was a bystander watching when this touch violation happened, and he looked at me and I looked at him like, but after the game we chatted, and he's newer to tournament chess too, so he didn't know the right move. And so he went and asked the arbiter what I should have done instead. Where I should have paused the clock, gotten an arbiter to come and address it. And now I know. Now I know. I mean, given Arthur's kind of not blatant disrespect, but he was late, he was eating. He also wasn't writing any of his moves down until about move 15. He started copying off of my paper. And yeah, I should have gotten an arbiter, but now I know. I did notice that this rook was hanging, but I didn't love my queen going in for an attack on her own because it felt to me like there could have been some way for the bishop to move and discover an attack here. And since I was already at material, I decided to not address that at the moment. So I move back, offer a queen trade. He does not accept. And I once again attack the queen. She has to move. And now I realize I have a... What is this? Skewer? So I do allow him to take the knight, because once again, I'm up material. Excuse me. And yeah, take my knight. It wasn't doing very much. I take your rook. That's fine. I, once again, threaten the queen. His only active piece. Bishop hasn't moved. Only piece he's moving is his queen. So she has to move away, and this one pawn he was banking on for any chances goes away. And once again, offer a queen trade. And start to try to simplify just as much as possible. Once again, offer a queen trade. Just kick that lady around in chess. Only in chess. And finally, she is somewhat trapped, so he exchanges. So we continue. I'm completely winning, up a lot of material, and didn't mind simplifying material because it was just so crushing. And he starts like a pawn storm on the king side. Has this bishop moved? Has he moved it at all this game? No. He just doesn't... Maybe he was playing like hard mode chess where one of his pieces can't move. And at this point, I start looking for mate. With some kind of idea with my rooks coordinating. He moved it back after knight c5. Okay, but still, not the world's best bishop. And, oh man. So he has just re-suffocated his king. He was moving his pawns to avoid back rank issues, and now he's basically created almost a new back rank for himself. Did I make best move here? No. No, I didn't. But he doesn't notice that his bishop, which has been just really sad this entire game. I don't know if he noticed or didn't notice, but at this point he resigned.